Hello everyone, hope you are all having a great time here. I'm so excited to be here today and talk about the importance of automation with Burak from Rollic. And I will try to get some tips for you. I will be interviewing with him and hopefully we can all benefit from their experience. But first, let me introduce myself. I'm Cansu. I've been working for Adjust as a client partner for over a year. And just a quick information about our company, who we are, what we are doing. Adjust is a mobile measurement company. Our main purpose is empowering you in terms of your app marketing efforts. We are giving you the necessary information to make your marketing decisions. And our platform includes measurement, fraud prevention, cybersecurity, and marketing automation products. And if you like to learn more, feel free to reach out to me or my colleagues. They're all participants here. You can schedule a call with them. We would be happy to talk to you. And today we are focusing on marketing automation, which is a hot topic nowadays. Everybody is talking about that. And maybe some of you, you have already started automating your marketing process. Some of you still trying to figure it out what is the best way to do it. And I hope that it will give you an idea how you can implement marketing automation within your marketing stack, and we can all take advantage from their experience. And Rollic is an Istanbul-based game developer and publisher. They released super successful global titles, which ended up in top 10 charts. And Burak is the co-founder of the company. Welcome, Burak. It's so good to have you here today. Thank you for joining us.
Hello, it's a pleasure for me to be here. Thank you very much, and hello everyone.
Thank you again. I know how busy you are, but still you can find time to join us today. I
No
really
worries.
appreciate that. Could
No
you
worries.
give us a bit more information about yourself and the company?
Mhm. I'm one of the founders. So Rollic is, as you said, Rollic is an hyper casual game publisher and developer. We founded the company in January 2019 with two additional founders, my partners, and we are based in Istanbul. And currently we released 31 games in last 18 months, and we're releasing 3-4 new big titles in average every month. And that's the basic summary I can tell.
It was a great summary. Thank you very much. If you don't mind, I would like to start with sharing some numbers on automation. In today's world, we all know that the user journey is getting more complex than ever. And today, marketers, they use 14 different platforms to engage their users. And 14, that's the average number of ad partners you are working with. And when it comes to campaigns, which is around 19, that means there will be tens of ad sets, ad groups, or maybe different targeting groups, or maybe hundreds of creatives you are trying to optimize on a daily basis. And no wonder 80% of your time is spent on data management, pulling reports, merging data across multiple different platforms. And it's too much manual work and it's really time consuming. And 49% of marketers, they already started automating their marketing process, and which gives them a huge strategic and also competitive advantage, because it's all about killing the complexity and simplifying the marketing process. And imagine being able to analyze your data from one single dashboard, aggregating your cost data, ad revenue, or important KPIs such as ROAS, ROI will be calculated automatically, and you can change your bids and budgets in the same dashboard, creating some rules to optimize your campaigns. And especially when we think about user acquisition managers, their days go by doing some repetitive works, and it also kills their motivation, and it's holding them back from focusing on what matters to them. And McKinsey studied this in early 2000s, and that was the reality. People who were a part of automation, they were much happier than before. And that's why marketing automation is becoming an ultimate solution for two major marketing needs. First of all, managing a large database, and secondly, saving time to focus on important things like strategy, creative management, or decision-making process. And in the end, there will be less manual work and more time to focus on what matters to you, and you will be making smarter rule-based decisions. And I would like to go back to you, Burak. And we started working over a year ago, since very from your journey. And you have been using Adjust automation platform since March. So what were some of your first steps when using Adjust automation platform? For example, how was your team's reaction? Did you ever experience any pushback from your team?
Yeah, actually, so let me give you more information about what we are doing. Actually, you mentioned 19 campaigns, but when it comes to Rollic, I think you should multiply it with 30 because normally, like casual studios who has one or two titles are managing 19 campaigns. So we have 30 titles. It means that we are managing 19 campaigns per each title. So it's much bigger on our side in terms of daily workload. And what we are basically doing is trying to do is try to automate everything because we have 7 people in our growth team who is managing the user acquisition and monetization operations, and the company is releasing 4 new games every month. So the solution is not hiring new people. I don't believe that, to be honest. It's because then you get into an endless manual hiring process, which kills your automation strategy. So what we are planning to do is what we are trying to do is always trying to hire people after we automate something on the team. Of course, new hirings should be made during the growth period, but first you need to check what you can automate about all the process of the teams. So that's what we're looking for actually. But when it comes, you mentioned 14 partners, and I think Rollic is working with 21. And 14 is the average, but we are working with 21 different user acquisition partners. Some of them are very big, some of them have smaller scale, and we are trying new months every month. Like there are new partners, new user acquisition sources because we are generating uh, too much download when we release a game. So as soon as we release a game, it goes up to like 40 million, 50 million, just 1.5 months. And then you need to find new sources to continue the scale because on some big advertisers, you are potentially reaching your top scale on the best CPI possible. So that's why actually our operation is much dynamic compared to the other side of the gaming business. So it's the rules of hyper casuals. We are releasing back to back again and again, and that means but the games are not dying. So that's a wrong perception about hyper casual. We released games in February 2019, March 2019, and we still continue their profit operations. So they are still spending on user acquisition, and it has been 1.5 years. So it is not like you replace a game that you release and you go for the new one. The old one continues, and the new ones just added up to the ones before. And that's why actually automation is the key. You have to do it. It's impossible without living without any automation rule set. So I think the game changer thing for us this year was the automation tool that we're using together with you guys, and uh, that was the I think a milestone for the team because, as you mentioned, I said it before. It's if you make your team work on manual processes a lot, which means that operational processes, then you kill the proactivity of the team, and suddenly they become unhappy because they're doing a repetitive work. They do the same thing every day, but they don't see the effect of it directly on their core business, right? So, but when you automate some rule sets, some changeable strategies that you're doing, then the team has more time to do the analysis and be proactive about their business because hyper casual is 3.5 years old, right? So there's no like 10 years rule sets about doing it. And every month you find a new thing To find a new thing, you need to be proactive. To be proactive, you need to have time. That's the basic summary over there. So that's why I think, uh, since we put all of our user acquisition spend in the same dashboard in last 3 4 months, and then the team became more proactive, and we are testing some new stuff that we haven't tested before. No one tested before, actually. That's very important in our business. And I think, the automation, as you asked, the automation was the we released many games in last 5 months. We released Rollic released the most downloaded games of United States App Store in Q2. Top two games are Rollic's titles, the most downloaded United States games. But that's the creativity of the team in terms of game design and game production. But if you don't have a proper user acquisition team or a growth team, it's impossible to reach those numbers, because we don't generate any organic downloads. Always we generate paid downloads. So that's why we need to have a perfect setup. After you have the proper creativity on game design, you need to have the perfect setup for your growth strategies. So in terms of your launches, and then live ops continues with user acquisition and monetization. So that's why actually I can really say that the first thing about Rollic's success in last 6 months is, of course, always creativity on game design, because you need to have the perfect game to do all of these stuff. And then comes these automation strategies in user acquisition.
How was the implementation process? I know that you said you are such a relatively small team, but you are doing a great job. But when it comes to adopting a new strategy or new tool within your marketing stack, sometimes people, even though they know that it will make their work easier, you can experience some pushbacks because they just get used to the traditional way to optimize their campaigns. So I would like to hear more about the implementation.
Yeah,
How
actually,
does it?
first I will start the vision part of it. I think the where we are in the world right now teaches us not to be traditional about anything, right? So the supermarkets in my neighborhood didn't have an online app before the pandemic, but all of them has right now. So you cannot be traditional about anything right now. So actually, and in where we are right now with these technologies and tools we have, I don't find it very successful to reach out big revenues with a team of 300 people, right? I think it's much better and much modernized way to do it with 30 people, 25 people, maybe most of 50 people, right? Because you have the technology and options to find something that you can implement to your business, and maybe stay with a smaller number of team. Because when your teams on a founder level, when your team starts growing, you stop managing the business, you start managing people. And that's where your growth a bit slows down, because that same energy, it's very hard to keep it with the new hirings, because you hired like 40 50 person, right? You cannot accept the same energy of first 20 people after that, when you hire your 30 50 person, right? So actually that's why, uh, especially in first couple of years of the company, it's very important to implement this as a culture. So, and that's the basic starting point. Actually, if you're like, it's hard when you're a 10 years old company. We are just a 1.5 years old company. It's easier for us to maintain this culture of change. I don't know what will happen after 5 years when we have current exact strategies about everything, but I don't think so. Even after then, we will have this ongoing culture of implementing new technologies to the company. And that's the key about success. Because, and the most important thing for us is, we are in a highly competitive environment on hyper casual. So we have other publishers, we have many studios trying to do the same business, and you need to be the first one. So to test everything. Because if any of your competitors does it before you, then they're one step ahead than your business. So that's why actually, as a team culture, not on a founder level, any member of the team on in Rollic should be able to proactively find these kind of partners, this kind of technology, and test it. So our team has goals to test new technologies on any of the business. If it's a interactive designer, then they should test something about the After Effects program they are using, the partners over there, automation over there. Or if it's a growth member, then it's like a just automation tool. Or is a publishing, it's another thing. So everybody in the team should be proactive about implementing new things to their business. So on our side, the implementation was very easy on the cultural level. On the technical level, I think what makes it easy is your partner, right? If you're able to implement all your user acquisition campaigns in just a day, then it's easy. So we had, after we had the talks, it took like mostly 3-4 days for us to totally get involved here. But I don't know if you're going to ask, but the next step of that is using the automation within your strategies about just setting rule sets, setting artificial intelligence rule sets, and alerts to the team, etc. So that's the tricky part. Implementation is the easy part. If the team has the culture, if the partner is good, it won't take more than 3-4 days actually.
Yeah, it's so good to hear that the implementation process was really smooth.
Yeah.
And also, as a company culture, you are adopting technologies super easily. But I would like to highlight that, as you also mentioned, it gives you a really competitive advantage. Otherwise, you will fall behind in the competition, because especially hyper casual business, it's such a competitive environment.
And I don't like to talk about these things we're doing a lot in these sessions because it tells everyone what we do. But I'm trying to be as high level as possible on that sense.
I will try to get some tips, but if they are confidential, don't share with
No.
me.
No. Okay.
And speaking of saving your time and making the process efficient, eliminating those inefficiencies, what would you say? How does that impact your business? Can you share with me some hard numbers if they are not confidential?
Yeah, actually, we saw in terms of efficiency and in terms of even revenue uplifts and outcomes, we saw of almost 15%, 10% in our business. So I think that I won't tell the detail, but I can tell you the number. So we saw in terms of teams efficiency and in terms of revenue and everything and scale, we saw 10%, 15% better business on our side, and that's a huge effect, by the way. To be honest, that's a huge effect for a technological implementation. So I think the most important thing over there is saving the team's time to show their exact talent on what they're doing, right? And that's these automation tools or technological implementations are always considered in a way of like the effect on the daily data, daily business, etc. But I think they have also the equal effect on the HR side of things, because the team is happier and they can take out their full potential if they have the correct tools. So, but the hard number should be 10-15% of a better business, I can say.
Impressive. It's really impressive because sometimes there is a misconception. They don't know how to measure the added value of automation. Of course, it will make it efficient, you will save time, but how we can put on into numbers. But you said that it was around 10 to 15%, which is...
I'm not just saying the team. I think the team's time is okay, but I'm talking about the scale of the games, the number of the games we are launching, etc. So direct impact on revenue is very positive.
Yeah, yeah. And let's talk about a bit hyper casual business, because sometimes people assume that hyper casual is less reliant on data, deep diving into data, and it's all about scaling and finding a winner title with lower acquisition cost.
Mhm.
What's your perception on that? What would you say, and what are the key elements which makes you successful in this business?
I think the most important thing over there is the first thing is about having the correct team to create the correct game design concepts, mechanics, progression, level design, etc. So, but that I think the first misperception is that one. Since creating a prototype is easy on hyper casual, putting a prototype on the app store is easier on hyper casual. A lot of people thinks that it's easy to launch a profitable hyper casual game. That's different. So from the prototype to the profitable launch phase, you go through a lot of updates, a lot of details, and you need to have the proper background, experience, and also the creativity and game design, because the data will tell you what's wrong, but it won't tell you what to do about the next update of the game to fix that game design part. So you need to have the team's creativity over there. For that, therefore, I always put to the first place, you should have the perfect game design culture, gaming company culture, and everything. Because in hyper casual, some of the publishers are acting as outsourced marketing companies, and some of the developers are acting as outsourced development companies. But for us, the key is there to act like a proper gaming company on every side of it, right? So because you're creating the most downloaded games in the world. So because hyper casual games are open the top charts of United States, every country, our top 10 will be 8, 7 games that will be hyper casual games. It's always like that, right? So therefore you need, of course, you need to have a perfect game because everybody should play it, should be able to play it. And you have to scale it, profit it, and then launch a perfect successful game. So that's why actually the environment in hyper casual, I think you should see that some misperceptions about the industry. These misperceptions are coming from the unsuccessful one side of the industry. I think the successful companies here knows how hard it is to maintain that launch culture back to back and the team's creativity. So I think that's the rule set of hyper casual. But of course, next step is, of course, our games are starting with a CPI of 10 cents, 15 cents, 8 cents. IV sold 4 cents of a CPI. That's like a free download, right? But of course, after you generate some amount of download, every CPI goes up, right? So it's the basic rule. So you start with 10 cents, you generate 40 million downloads in average with 35, 40 cents. But to generate more than 40 million, then the CPI goes up to 80 cents, $1, right? So then you should know how to generate users for $1 and still profit from them, right? Because you should be able to identify the users who are generating more than $1 in terms of their monetization performance in the game without any in-app purchase, but just add monetization side. So, and there is the step of the importance of the data management and the audience management, user acquisition management, and also meta game in-game updates, so live ops updates of the game. So you should always improve your games to make users play them more again and again. So the live ops process continues minimum for a year, right? So that's why actually that's a huge misperception. You should be able to manage your data properly when it comes to also to hyper casual side of the genres. And I think that's what we did, right? We are able to generate, we are now bidding in some games, we are generating users for $1.7, almost $2 of user acquisition cost, and we are able to still profit from those users in hyper casual. If you use that misperception of you should have the low user acquisition cost, then it is wrong, right? Of course, the games didn't start with these CPIs, but to maintain your scale, you should learn this and you should continue your profitability. You cannot like drop your game and go for the new one. The operation continues. I think that therefore the data side of things is very important in our business.
I totally agree with you, but of course, as you said, creativity comes first, and then
Yeah,
when it comes to your marketing decisions, you are such a data-driven team, and you are
yeah,
always making your decisions relying on purely data, not the
yeah,
emotion. And also, you say that $1, 1.2, it doesn't sound like an hyper casual game, but still the game
yeah,
is profitable, and you can
uh-huh,
continue to do so.
yeah, yeah.
So I would like to go back automation part and talk about a bit your future predictions. What do you think automation will take us in the future?
I think merging it with game design will be the key part in automation. So right now we are doing automated processes in user acquisition
Mhm.
and maybe some monetization strategies, but they are not involved with the progression of the game. What I mean is, we know, for example, we have rule sets on our automation tool, and we know which CPI to bid in terms of what return of ad spend in which day of the game, etc., where retention goes down to which percent. I'm not giving the hints about that, but of course, we have rule sets in our automation tools to make the automated bidding for each source we are using on user acquisition. That's a step that we use for the game metrics that out of the game. For that, those are like performance marketing metrics, right? So I think the ability to implement that to a game will be the game changer. For example, having a more reliable data on where to predict where users is going to churn, uh, like seeing the source of the users and predict their churn numbers, churn levels, and churn moments of the game, and then maybe show more ads before they leave your game and to generate more revenue, or to show less ads to make them continue playing the game, etc. So I think merging all those user acquisition automation strategies within the game design will be the future prediction and future key to go one step further in what we are doing right now. And actually that's what we are trying to do. So but it's very hard, to be honest. It's you need to have a proper data, but to have the data you need to have the downloads and the games. And I think but it is where the things will go, to merge everything we are doing, because right now there is a bridge between user acquisition and monetization, but in that bridge we cannot use the bridge properly because it's in game design. So we need to also involve the game design part of it. I think that's the key for the future.
Yeah. In the future, maybe we will be combining in-app metrics with outside of app metrics.
Yeah,
Yeah, it will be the ultimate goal of automation, maybe.
yeah.
By the way, we are running out of time a bit,
Hmm.
but thank you very much. It was really inspiring, and thank you for
Hmm.
joining us today again.
Johnson, thank you very much. Cheers, everyone. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for listening. Hope you enjoyed your time here and enjoy the rest of the sessions.
Yeah, I enjoyed. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for a fantastic presentation. Cansu, can you hear me now?
I can, yeah, I can hear you. Yeah,
Beautiful.
thank you very
Yeah,
much
I
for
can hear you too.
listening, and
Thank you very much for joining in the studio.
thank you, thank you. It was so good to see you here, even it's virtually. But yeah,
Oh yeah. It feels almost real, right? It's like at these times, it feels just like enough.
exactly.
Where are you
So
based, by the way?
I'm based in Berlin.
Oh, right. So you're like in the heart of our conference day today. We're traveling to Berlin today, by the way. A quick reminder to everyone on that side of the screen. All right. Thank you for the fantastic presentation. And we have a couple of questions for you, if you don't mind.
Yes.
So the very first one, hyper casual market is becoming more and more competitive these days. Are you guys facing any troubles? I mean, based on that.
Uh, yeah, of course, hyper casual is a really competitive landscape,
Mm-hmm.
and they're struggling with a lot of things. As Burak mentioned, first, creativity comes first always. You need
Mm-hmm.
to make a game people would like to play it, and after that, you need to analyze it, how it's going, how your data, how you can rely on data, and how users are acting within your app. And that's why tracking your whole data, your all
Mm-hmm.
user acquisition data, ad revenue, cost data, or some important metrics in order to see how the users are acting within your app, it's really important, and it's the key point. And then you can rely on data to make your marketing decisions. But not only for hyper casual business, of course, every vertical has their own challenge. But for hyper casual, of course, when you compare the organic numbers and paid installs always higher than organic numbers, but it's also supporting and bringing incrementality in terms of organic.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. And during these times, the lockdown and everything, I know that a lot of things change for many companies. What would you say? Would you recommend companies to adjust their strategy, or maybe you would recommend to look into some points more specifically and pay it more attention to?
Yeah, of course, the most important metrics are ROI. So you are spending some certain amount of money, and you need to see how those channels are performing, if they are bringing any value, if you are generating revenue, because it's all about the profitability. And in order to understand how profitable your business are, you always need to rely on data. And after that, automating your marketing tests, it will make your business efficient. As Brock mentioned, it will bring profitability, and it will directly affect your revenue. Um,
Mm-hmm. But in terms of automation, when would you say a company should do it? Like when you're a small indie studio, is this something you need to look forward to?
I think it's always better to start from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
It's always adapting this company culture. And after that, when you are trying to change something, if you are getting used to doing something in a traditional way, it
Mm-hmm.
can be really difficult to change this company culture. But if you're starting from the beginning, it will make it easier for
Mm-hmm.
your life, I would say.
Okay. And what would you say is the minimal budget you need to do that
I
for
think,
quality testing?
yeah, it depends what you are expecting.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why maybe they can just reach out to me or our team, and we can talk about, first of all, we need to understand their expectations and how they are managing their business. And after that, we can come up with a solution for them.
Well, fair enough. So everything is very, I mean, from one to one, it changes and very personal to every company. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, exactly. There is no one solution we can implement to everyone, or the way they are utilizing the tool, it changes
Mm-hmm.
depending on their expectations or their vertical, for example.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank
Has it
you.
ever happened to you that, the companies were extremely surprised with the results that they got after all the testing? Like they had one idea of how everything was working, and then it turned out poof.
Of course, sometimes it's confidential and they're not sharing with that, but Brock was really transparent about that, and it was really impressive. And he mentioned that they saw 10 to 15% profitability after they implement automation within their marketing stack.
Yeah. Well, fair enough. Thank you very much for joining us today. It was fantastic to have you in the studio, sometime soon,
Thank you.
hopefully
Thanks for
physically
having
as
me.
well. Say hi to Berlin for us, please.
Yeah, I will. It's a really lovely day today here.
Oh, is it? Oh, lovely. Well, thank you, and hopefully see you very soon.
Thank you
Have a
for
good day.
listening.